The job of the artist is always to deepen the mystery. Our opening words by Francis Bacon. You are welcome here if you are certain in your belief. If you have doubts and questions, you're welcome. If you are carefree and full of energy, or if you're burdened, anxious or tired, or somewhere in the middle, you are welcome. And if you are just okay, you are welcome here too. So whatever state you find yourself in this morning, I welcome you to Brighton Unitarian Church. A church born of dissenters. A church that teaches the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. A church where religion is wider than any one faith. A church where you can bring your questions, your concerns and your joy. A church where you're invited to question your own beliefs. And a church where community is built through conversation, difference and tolerance. So with those words, let us now light our chalice, the symbol of light and love and free religious faith. We light our chalice in the hope that we centre love and relationship, creativity and community as we meet. In the hope that we can invite into our hearts and into this space between us so much respect and spacious grace that no matter what happens here, we emerge connected. So let us come together in prayer. I will use from time to time the word God during our service. I invite you to choose whatever resonates with you. We take our prayers across the world for those in Gaza who are now under siege and starving. For those in Pakistan and India and Ukraine and across the world where an imbalance and desire for power leaves the most vulnerable to the tyrannies of war. We offer our prayers for the Catholic community. May they be led by Pope Leo in grace and in love. We also pray for Jeannie. Some of you know her, some of you don't. She was 99 this week. She's a long-standing member of our community and settling into a new home. So we think of her fondly and wish her many blessings. Also for Tricia, who is recovering at home, we send her the same. And we also just take a moment in our own prayers. There may be people that need our loving prayers, our connection, our hope at this moment in time. So let us just spend a few moments together in silence to offer those prayers. Spirit of life, God of all love, may these prayers be heard this morning, these prayers for a more loving and compassionate, equal and healing world. Amen, and blessed be. We sing our first hymn this morning. They're all from the Purple Book, and our first one is hymn number 24. So today we celebrate the art and the artist. And in this service we'll hear from members who have some reflections of how they've been touched spiritually or emotionally by art. It seems appropriate that we do this as the world of Brighton has been turned into a festival of art and creativity this month. Its aim originally was to stimulate townsfolk and visitors into taking a new look at arts and give them the opportunity to assess developments in the field of culture, where the serious and the apparently flippant ride side by side. That was written nearly 60 years ago, and I think it holds true. You never know what you're going to find when you turn a corner during the month of May. Some of us may have a string of tickets for shows, both in the main and the fringe. Some of us will attend the free events or go to the open houses, perhaps to get some ideas for their garden or even their house, or maybe even to buy some art. Whichever you choose, it's hard to avoid the Brighton Festival. Many years ago, I used to work for Same Sky, and some of my peers still do. I asked them as they were knee-deep in withies and paper and glue making for the Children Parade, what they thought about art. Nightmare, said one, as she was up to her neck in children's workshops creating things on a stick. I laughed. She thought again and explained for her that the start of the festival, which was last weekend with the Children's Parade, is an acknowledgement of the diversity of art and its impact in the world around us. She said we're giving them a platform to display their creations proudly and with applause. They are a central part of the festival, and although we may sometimes be perplexed by some of the strange creatures flying above their heads, there is a sense of pride and celebration. So is this what art is all about? Creating spaces for people to do creative work and for us to reflect on it. There may be pieces of art or music or dance or whatever that stay with us or move us in a certain way, and that they may go beyond understanding. They may touch your spiritual soul. And I think the arts are a bit of a portal to that. Let's just call it a portal to other layers of reality. As André Gide said, the author and Nobel Prize winner, he said, art is a collaboration between God and the artist. The less the artist does, the better. So let's sing again from the Purple Book, hymn number 21. My apologies for anybody who's new here this morning. I didn't take the opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Jennifer. I'm the minister here, so that puts me in the context. And welcome if it is your first time here. Maybe we remember sitting on those uncomfortable benches in galleries, staring at large pieces of work, perhaps being told they had some form of mesmerising connection, and yet we may not have seen it. We may have turned round and connected with another piece of art that nobody else was looking at. It was eclipsed by the grandeur of the famous painting in front of us. It may have seemed insignificant, and yet it propelled us into a sense of awe and wonder. I wonder if we have experienced that mystical state of consciousness, experienced by staring into a painting, looking at the intricate brushstrokes, listening to rhythmic tones of musical composition, or watching mesmerising dance movements, or reading lyrics, verse from poetic writing. They can all transport us to deeper places, where a spiritual experience flows freely. Throughout history, people have used art, music, and literature to express their religious beliefs. From the Renaissance artists, to Baroque, to abstract expressionism, to Dali and Jackson Pollock, to Anish Kapoor and Shirin Neshat, all of them drawing on their cultural backgrounds to create works that speak to the intricacies of identity and the human experience. From traditional old oil paintings to video art, classical ballet to postmodern, contemporary, poetry to rap, classical to hip-hop. But what stirs you? What piece of art transcends almost words and explanations? You may not have found it yet. It may be something that you saw as a child, maybe even something that you've seen in the festival. I invite you to just hold that thought lightly, and we'll come back to it in a while. As I said earlier, we are going to have some contributions from people in the congregation, and our first is from Julia. She's going to read us The Merchant of Venice, Act 4, Scene 1. The quality of mercy is not strained. And then she's going to translate it for us. Thank goodness.
Should we need... Oh, is that okay? Thank you. Well, I was going to just say, it's very difficult to choose an artist when asked to do it. But I thought, after a little while, it's got to be Shakespeare. He's been going over 400 years. He's still being played all over the world, so he must have got something right. He touched me, first of all, in my youth, when I saw Laurence Olivier's Hamlet. And I had to see it 3 times before I don't think I ever fully understood it, but I just found it mystical and magical, and it appealed to something. I mean, as Shakespeare said himself, he holds a mirror up to nature, and he looks at man's foibles, his strengths, weaknesses, the good and evil, the motivations, the consequences of actions, and so on, and constantly raises questions, like to be and not to be. And I thought it was easier to read a speech, or part of a speech, from, as Jennifer said, The Merchant of Venice, which those of you who don't know The Merchant of Venice, the story so far is that Antonio, the merchant of the title, runs out of money while he's waiting for his boat to come in with his fortune, goes to a moneylender, Shylock, to borrow some money. There's no love lost between them, and Shylock says, okay, but if you renege on your promise, then I can take £1 of your flesh. Antonio is so convinced that he'll be able to repay this, he says, okay. But his boat gets lost at sea, and Shylock takes him to court to claim his £1 of flesh. Portia, friend of Antonio, disguised as a lawyer, advocates in court for him. And in this, she weighs up two of our readily held values of justice and compassion, though he refers to them as mercy. And this is part of what she says. The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as a gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. It is mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His sceptre shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptred sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. And earthly power doth then show like as God's, when mercy seasons justice. Okay, I rest my case.
Thank you, Julia. I don't know if anybody else was in that space of, I wish I had a teacher like that taught me Shakespeare. I was hooked from the beginning. Thank you. We come now to a time of reflection, so just make yourself comfortable in your seat. If sitting still is not your game, then please feel free to take yourself to the back of the church, and if reflection and movement is better for you, please feel free to do that. I invite you to close your eyes or just come to a soft gaze, or maybe focus on the chalice candle. And bring your focus to the breath, the rise and the fall, the air coming in, the air going out, the source of all life. And we return in these periods of reflection to bring to mind a piece of art or dance or music. There may be several that have really touched us. We may recall where we first heard them, what emotions they evoked, and how they changed us. Whatever form that piece of art has moved you, let us sit together in silence for a few moments to give grateful, silent thanks. Spirit of life, God of all love, bless these creators who by their gifts make the world a more joyful and beautiful realm. Through their labours, they teach us to see more clearly the truth around us. In their inspiration, they call forth wonder and awe. In our own living and in our own hope and vision, they remind us that life is holy. Amen. Thank you, Kathy. Hopefully, in front of you, there should be a pencil in the back of the chair in front of you, if that makes sense. And you should have got a little card, a little coloured piece of card. If you don't have a pencil or piece of card, wave. I invite you, this is going to be a gift to somebody else. So I invite you to write on this little tiny piece of paper. If there is a piece of art or a story or a novel or a poet, a piece of dance, whatever it is, I invite you to just write its name or the creator's name. So we're going to put them all in a bowl, and at the end of the service, you're all going to be invited to pick one. The hope is you don't pick the one that you've actually written. If you do, you have to put it in and get another one. And the idea is that we're giving each other a gift of something that stirred us creatively, so that we go away, if we haven't got enough to look at in the Brighton Festival, we could maybe store this piece of paper somewhere and then come back to that in the months coming and take a look at this artist and see what we think about it. So you don't need to write what you love about it, just the artist or the piece of work. And then when you're ready, if you come and bring them and pop them in the bowl. If you don't know how to spell them, then write them as they sound. We give thanks for the artists known and unknown, established and just beginning, from the canvas to the trombone, the digital image to the sculpture, and to God's greatest canvas, the earth. Thank you, everybody, and I hope it will create some conversation for tea. You might even want to try and find out who the person is that wrote them. I'm going to move on. Kathy's actually going to share a little bit about the pieces of music that move her, maybe the ones that you've played today, is that right? Yeah.
Sorry about the cough. It's really difficult to describe why music or art or drama or ballet moves people. It's a bit like trying to work out who, what, why is God. The only word that comes back to me on that issue is mystery. I've been really lucky. I wasn't brought up in an artistic household. I did have an arts education. I was really lucky in my 20s and 30s because of the job I was doing to hear some of the world's greatest performers. And after a while, I realized that for me, the word I would use that most moved me, to describe what moved me, is the word transcendence. I've heard some performances by top-class musicians. I can remember a particular one by, at the time, an absolutely superb Russian pianist, Moscow Center trained, and it was so boring. The notes were there, wow. Who cared? I didn't. I was also lucky enough to hear one of the last performances by our great British pianist, John Ogden. He'd been let out from the asylum for the occasion. Yes, really. And the notes were all over the place, and we just sat there on the edge of our seats because it was fabulous. That man played from his heart, not from his head. And don't get me started on the erosion of music and drama and art in schools. We'll be here till next Sunday. I suppose in my tiny amateur way, what I aim for is just a smidgen of that transcendence. I don't have the technique. I don't care. I do what I can with what I've got. The music I played today, Jennifer's brief, play what you like, wow. It's a bit like saying to someone who doesn't have any reason to live anywhere. You can move anywhere in the world. Okay. The first three pieces I played were connected by one thread, and that was the month of May. I played The Cuckoo by a Baroque composer. I played Schumann's In the Lovely Month of May. And I played We'll Gather Lilacs by Ivan Novello, also in homage to VE Day this week. The piece that we've just had after the reflection was by Liszt, who really was a transcendental, supremo, incredible performer. Apparently, ladies, even well-brought-up ladies, swooned when they saw him and trampled each other underfoot to get his half-smoked cigar or his handkerchief. I believe he used to arrive with a coach and horses and walk up the aisle in a black cape, and the man was like possessed. But towards the end of his life, he entered a monastery, and the music, which had been full of fireworks and show-offness, which I can't play those pieces, I don't have the technique, became contemplative and inward, and the Consolation that I just played, I think, was a precursor to that. And it's very beautiful and very simple and easy to play, but then not. Right, and the last piece is just pure fun. I'm only sorry that you don't have song sheets, because the words are as wacky as the music.
Thank you, Kathy. Next time we'll sing the song. I think Kathy is actually going to play while we take the offertory. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I missed that one out. That's just a little.
Oh, that's just a little. That's just a little twiddle. We come to our collection. If you have some surplus money in your pocket and you are able to give it to this church, we would graciously accept it. We pass the little basket if you've got pennies or pounds or paper notes, and there is I was going to say a mind reader, not a card reader. It will read your mind and your bank balance afterwards if you want to. The money that we take here helps to keep this place open, to offer services, to support the local community. So if you have, we are grateful. If you haven't, we're grateful that you're here. Thank you so much for your contributions. Our next contribution is from Lucy. I think you're going to speak first, and then we're going to hear a little snippet of music. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, when Jennifer asked me to do this, I was like, oh, okay. I had one piece of music that came straight into my head, and then about 10,000 others, and I went, ah. But what was funny was that, although I'm a singer, there wasn't really anything that I would sing that came to mind. So yeah, there's a piece of music that if I ever need to cry, I always go to. If I need to feel stuff, if I feel like I've not been connected to what's going on for me, like last year, there was a lot going on, and I lay down on the floor and had the speakers of my sound system either side of my ears. The cat actually lay on my chest, and I just I had to listen to it. It had to be loud, and it does something to me. I don't know whether it's because it's not vocal, then I don't think about oh, how would you sing that? But the first time I ever heard it was 2007, and a friend of mine from university knew a lot more about music than I did. I might have a music degree, but I don't actually know very much. And any concert he wanted to go to, I'd be like, right, yeah, okay, I'll go. I don't know what this is, but fine. And we sat at the very, very back. We had a seat at a prom at the very, very back. So there's no seats behind. There's like a board. And we got to the final movement of this piece, and I felt like I'd been pinned back into this thing behind me. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't speak, I couldn't do anything afterwards. I was sobbing. And I had never been, although I'd trained in music and spent all this time with music, I had never been moved by music in this way. Yeah, it did something to me. It was the European Youth Orchestra, and their energy, like these young children that were like going at it, like, it just kind of, I don't know, it makes me feel alive. So it's Sibelius's 5th symphony, the 3rd movement. And I'm just going to say something about what he said about it. So the 3rd movement is meant to be a swan call. And apparently he saw a flight of swans in the sunset, and he was like, that has to be in my final movement of this symphony. And he wrote, apparently in his diary, when he saw these swans, it was as if God the Father was throwing pieces of mosaic from the edge of heaven and asking me to figure out what the pattern was, which I just thought was really beautiful. I didn't know that at the time, but it added up. So I've asked for some of it to be played. You won't get the whole of the impression of it because you haven't had all of the rest of it, but it's a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. I got transported then. I was like, think, or I hope, that what we've listened to this morning, just snippets of people's passion and emotion when they're connected to art. I know it was a very difficult question to ask somebody to pick one piece. That is just, it's mean, really. But then if I'd said pick 8 pieces, you'd have wanted 10, 20, 30. I want to tell you a little bit about a piece of work that has sort of heavily influenced me. And it's the video artist Bill Viola, who died last year. He explores spirituality through the lens of human consciousness and experience. And his universal themes are birth, death, love, and emotion. And he explores and gains sort of his inspiration from lots of different spiritual traditions. He studied Renaissance painting when he was younger, and then got introduced into video art. And he makes the most huge installations. You know, these aren't just on a TV screen, they're like bigger than the size of the curtain or more. The first piece I saw he made back in '92, and I saw it during my degree studies in 2002. And it was an enormous triptych video screen. On one screen there was the birth of his first child, video, the birth of his first child. The middle screen was him sort of suspended in water. He does these incredible effects. You look at it and you think, how can you do that? And you try to work it out and you can't. So you just think of it as it's just magical. He was floating in air and water. And then the third screen is the last sort of hour or so of his mother's life. And they all are played concurrently. It was the first piece of art that I saw that I cried. I remember sitting in a darkened room in the University of Brighton. It was as wide as this church, and I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and didn't really know why I was sobbing. And then I saw his retrospective in 2015 at the RA. And I sobbed again, and I spent the whole day looking at this artwork, lying on the floor. I can imagine, like Lucy was saying, I didn't have the cat, but I was lying on the floor and just allowing these installations to flow through me. And then I cried again when I heard that he'd died last year. He wrote, I have come to realise that the most important place where my work exists is not in the museum gallery, or in the screening room, or the television, and not even on the video screen itself, but in the mind and the heart of the viewer who has seen it. And when I read that, it was like, that was it. It was how it changed me. And it changed me when I went on to make installation art, which I'd never, ever chosen to do. I thought I'm going to make a piece of movement art, and I made an installation piece. And I think it's about that sense of when you put those pieces of work together, they've taken decades of time. It was a decade of his child being born, and then a decade later he did this piece of video art, and then a decade later his mother died. It's a long process of waiting for that piece of work, that transcendent piece of work to come together. As Unitarians, we hold the balance, or try to hold the balance between science and mystery. And many artists do the same, especially if they use technology. I think that's the amazing thing where spirituality and art come together. You're looking at a piece of work or hearing a piece of work or hearing those words that are written 400 years ago, pieces of music that were written centuries ago. And in some ways you try to understand them, and yet they bypass that mental figuring and enter into your heart. But are we all artists? I believe so. Art is a language. We don't need to put it in a gallery. There is no requirement for membership to a particular artist's gallery. The main thing is the depth, quality and intensity of the relationship that we have to art that we see or art that we make. And that art that we make may be in our gardens, maybe on our walls, maybe in the words that we make, the letters that we send. It may be based on love for the very act of creation itself. But it's also about wonder. And that's what we've heard this morning. People's wonder, this piece of music that they listen to that sends them to another parallel universe. The source of wonder of a child making a magical flying thing on a stick. Art takes us out of ourselves. And when the work speaks to us in such a way that something seems to leap within us, that recognition of connection, something far beyond we can articulate. I leave you with these words from Bill Viola, which seem to me sum up that sense of when art is created, what it leaves behind. The unfolding of consciousness, the revelation of beauty, the moment of awe, that space without words, the emptiness that builds mountains, the joy of living, the gift of leaving something behind for the next traveller. Amen and blessed be. We sing our final hymn. How many verses is it? Have we got time to sing them all? Oh, okay. Hang on a minute. Okay, can we sing 1, 3 and 5? 1, 3 and 5. Hymn 165. Spirit of Our final reading this morning is written by Julia Cameron, the artist and author of The Worldwide and Popular Artist's Way, and it will be read by Bella.
Okay, this is an artist's prayer. O great Creator, we are gathered together in your name, that we may be of greater service to you and to our fellows. We offer ourselves to you as instruments. We open ourselves to your creativity in our lives. We surrender to you our old ideas. We welcome your new and more expansive ideas. We trust that you will lead us. We trust that it is safe to follow you. We know you created us and that creativity is your nature and our own. We ask you to unfold our lives according to your plan, not our own low self-worth. Help us to believe that it is not too late and that we are not too small or too flawed to be healed by you and through each other and made whole. Help us to love one another, to nurture each other's unfolding, to encourage each other's growth, and understand each other's fears. Help us to know that we are not alone, that we are loved and lovable. Help us to create as an act of worship to you.
Thank you, Bella. The artist's world is limitless. It can be found anywhere, far from where we live or a few feet away. May the blessings of life be upon us all. May the time that we have spent in the sacred presence of this place resound in our minds and our bodies, in our hearts and in our souls until we meet again. May we leave this sacred place in gratitude for the wealth of art and creativity in our own life and in our city and the world around us. May we open our minds and our hearts and our eyes and our ears to the wealth and abundance of creativity everywhere. Amen.
always make us smile, Kathy.
I wish we did have the words covered, because I was remembering bits, but I really wanted the whole script. I'm sorry, I can't do
Words next time, please.
that.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was really great, really lovely, creative service. And thank you. And to Julia, Kathy and Lucy for your contributions, heartfelt, tear-jerking. Thanks, Stuart. And Charlie's gone to make some tea, so we can have that in a minute. Next service will be on Sunday, led by Susie, our member Susie. On Wednesday, between 12:15 and 1, there will be piano, played by Pamela, and quiet reflection after that, led by Jennifer. No lunchtime concert on Friday, because this is a great escape venue, and it will be manic and mad. All through May, there's loads of Festival Fringe events here, and details of what's on are on the website. On Wednesday at 7:30, our online meeting of Heart and Soul will be led by Catherine. If anybody hasn't been before and they want to come, if you let me know, and I can arrange for a link to be sent to you. A reminder that the funeral of our member Joanna Park will be held here on Tuesday the 20th at 1 p.m, followed by refreshments, and her family warmly invite you to attend. There are some cards there which are on sale in aid of our church, and I think that's about it. After coffee, there will be a Fringe Festival event in here, and it's all going to kick off, so don't hang around for too long. Basically, if you could get out quickly at 12:30, we would really appreciate it. It's starting at 1:30, but Stuart's got to change the place around, so just be sympathetic to our wonderful caretaker.
Just an addition on to Joanna's funeral. If anybody is able to help with refreshments after the service, if you could come and see me, that would be really, that'd be really helpful. Or if you're able to help set up beforehand, that would be great. There is a new, there's 3 sessions on Zoom. If you're new to Unitarianism, or you think, even if you've been around for a while, think, how much do I know about it? There's an online 3 sessions. I've got the dates. It's on a poster next door, so I'll bring it through. And it's a sort of exploration. So if you're new, you can then connect with other people in the movement, give you an overview about Unitarianism and what the movement is doing now. So I'll go and grab that, and it's just an email to sign up. I think it's time for tea.